Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Let me grab this out of the way here because we have a show and tell day. And I have a lot of things that have been sent over the last couple weeks in from viewers, and I'd like to share some of those with you. But before we get into that, I'm going to have to interrupt you and show you a little machining tip or trick or the procedure that I perform on the mill, the K&T, to split a part in two pieces with just a little minor face sanding on the split line and create two equal parts. So it's a slit, a flip, and a slit. Here you go. You just saw this slit here. Of course, I couldn't go all the way through. I went through another pass, secondary pass, so I took that in like 2 bits right there. All right, I need to flip this over and cut this side here to match. I like to keep it as minimum material. That's why I used a slitting saw to start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this slot up so that I can come in on the top side and come right on top of that slit. So what I do is I take a couple pieces of straight strapping. They just barely slip in here. They'll hold themselves up. And I'm going to kind of slide them forward here so that I have room to bring my toe clamps in. And I'm just going to slide these in here close. I'm not going to tighten them yet. Now, I'm holding, I got this in neutral, okay, so, and it's not running. I'm going to bring this close as I can here because I'm holding the strapping against the face down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to take my ruler or my scale and I'm going to hold it along this edge here, and I'm going to sight the same opposite face of the strapping over here, and I can move this over. Went just a little too far. Something like that. Alright, pretty darn close. Now, I'm going to bring this up to where I'm comfortable. Okay, that's good. I can't see on the other side right there. Light tension, double check. We're pretty good. Alright, now we're going to lower the table down and we're bringing it so I have the greatest part of this before I get to the arbor here. And find my scale here. I dropped it in the slot. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to come down. Oh, I knocked out my, of course. and the phone. Now we got our scale down there, and we can move our strapping over till we see it on that side, and we got the slot on that side and the slot on that side nice and equal. All right, we're going to take it that we are lined up with the lower slot, and we're going to let her go. Okay, here we go. Back into our better speed. Okay, there we go. Okay, I believe we're all the way through. And I think we can get by with just a light sanding on those. Awesome. All right, I went and grabbed my calipers while you were watching that, and because I was just kind of curious. If I take this is cast on the outside, of course, and it was like 768 and 753, and the bore here is like 360 and 390, and so I'm eyeballed that part within 10-15 thousandths of being on center. Of course, that's just a pintle support bearing on a rudder that stands about this tall. And but the most important thing is being able to slit something with a near perfect machine finish. And I just took the blim out of it, and it was just barely touching that. In fact, actually, there's just a couple little rems of that original saw cut surface on one of those pieces there. All right, let's dig into some of these items that were sent in to me from my viewers, and I love my viewers very much. This here is from Eric in South Dakota. He sent in a picture of his project here. Hey Keith, thanks for all the tips over the years. I had to make a jig to hold this on my lathe to true up the flange to fit the tube. I wouldn't have done it without your help. I'm more of a mechanic than a machinist. Thanks again. God bless, Eric. This is fantastic. I love they took a little time and took a little picture of something that they worked on, and I've been right there. I know that part. I've seen that part before. You know, this is the same amount of corrosion and rust on it, the same amount of effort that it took to take and scrap out a tube and or shorten it or whatever, and have to dress up a yoke on the end. Very good. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. All right, I'm going to ship you out a couple stickers. Okay, our next item that was sent in to us from a viewer, which is also a fellow community channel, and that's Scott Tyndale Home Shop with Tira. Tira's a sweetheart there, and actually I think when I first started watching them, they were working on building a barbecue, and she was popping in and out of the video, and it was just the cutest, you know. And it kind of reminds me of it brings in. See, I grew up and I was in the shop at 5-7 years old, and I was out there and everything else, and it kind of like brought that back inside my feelings, you know. Also a couple stickers here. So they sent me a hat and a couple stickers. I'm going to send Tira a hat, but Scott, he just tends to like feed them to the dog. They want me to cut out their logo like I did Adams and Bruce Whitman's. But there's a lot going on in their logo, so I'm going to have to do it in multiple parts. Like I did the Coyote, the Roadrunner, with variable stack-ups. There's 4 layers thick on that beak on the Roadrunner. And like Alex, my son, he's 2 layers thick. Michael, water polo, that's 2 layers thick. You know, everything else is like single layers up here on the wall. My brand new eagle peering through the tethered flag, and that's now on my website, and you can purchase that placard. It's 23 inches by I think 15 or 16 on the height there. So anyway, back to Scott and Tira. I'll be working on your cutout here shortly, but there are some things in line first. I really need to get back and put that clapper to bed, and I need to get Buffy back together. All right, so I just got a lot on the plate, and that's kind of why I'm putting the viewer video together, because I just got so much now. I'm not going to be able to add it on to the beginning of a regular video here. All right, so I got this in, and I'll get that out to you here very quick, and I'll throw in a couple. I don't know if I sent you my new flag stickers, but I'll throw a couple of those in as well. This next one here came in from across the pond. I'm going to set the box over here. And got a couple stickers here. All right, and we open up the box here. Look at that. That's a lot of burrs right there. All right, this is from my friend, my new friend, Paul from Ireland. All right, and you know, I learned something because he sent these over, and in his notes here he says, believe it or not, Ireland produces over 50% of the world's production of tungsten carbide burrs. All right, this is a lot of burrs, a lot of nice shapes in there, and I can't wait to give them a try. Now, of course, these come from across the pond, and over here this is one of the burrs that actually was in that set there as well, and I had to make a foolish metric adapter. This is the standard collet that comes in here, and this actually holds the 1/4 inch diameter, which is 250 thousandths. Okay, the burrs in this set here are 6 millimeter or 236 something thousandths, and they rattle in here. If you take the standard collet and you put that, and I know everybody that's has received 6 millimeters, you go, well, I'll just crank this thing on down and get that thing to hold in there. Well, out here at the edge here, in fact, it almost closes the little gaps on the end of that collet right there. All right, but you put some air to this thing, okay, and it's going to be like a crow with a couple feathers broken on one side, flapping like a hummingbird, and it's going to wobble around. That just happened to set in there pretty straight. I put one in there before, and it almost shook this thing out of my hand because it's not really holding it true. All right, now that come out easy. This collet right here, it actually surprised me, the stock collet, and you can see the contact that it's making on this cone cup right here out towards the major diameter. And this is also, I'm starting to get some of the lines there since I heat treated this item as well. I made it out of 4130, and heated it up, and we're going to go through that process here in a minute. Okay, nice and tight. Running nice and true. It's important to have the full shank close to the collet size. To force a collet to close down, you're only closing it down on making a contact of a ring area. So anyway, I went to take this thing in and out, and then I come to find out I loosen that off, and this is still gripping, and that's because my taper's locking. My taper's locking really well. A little vibration, and she breaks loose and she comes free. I'm real happy with my taper. Now, it didn't take me that long to make this little collet adapter, which is 6mm on the inside, but you can't just buy a 6mm reamer over here. You just order a dimensional reamer that equals that size, and that's what I did. As I got online and I ordered that decimal reamer. So what I did is I took this collet, the original one, and I put it in my collet, and then I took a dial indicator. I knew it was running true round because I set it up that way in there, and then I dialed back and forth on that taper. Once I dialed that taper in, then I knew that my compound was set to be able to do that angle right there. So while this was, I sized it, faced it, put the shoulder on the snout of it, turned the diameter, and then I came in and I did the relief and everything else behind it, and then I finally came in and did the finished cut on that taper. And I just made sure that I had this major diameter here, the right size, and then the distance out and all of that. So because all of that's behind the major diameter, you can't test any of those fits, so you just got to make it the same diameters everywhere you can, and then just size it up and make yours match. After that, then we pulled it out of the collet of the lathe and we went into the mill, and we set that up in the mill to slot it before we separated the part. We can use the major slug that was in the collet into the vise and then just hold it on a parallel, and then just eyeball our height, come across and create one cut, and then rotate it 90 degrees and line up with the machinist square off the table, and then cut the other slot. And so after you've cut the slots, then you go ahead and bring it back to the lathe, and I just quickly ran the reamer in, so I took any burrs off the inside, and then I polished it on the outside with a little emery. Then I went in and I parted it right off, and then after that I was able to set it up on the press in the other room there, and throw a little heat on it, and then I quenched it in my quenching oil, and then it was ready for a run. And that's what I did to create that. And it was very the engraver was in here working its heart out, because I had to catch up on my Bar Z Summer Bash T-nut slot scrapers, because I had half a dozen going to Australia today, or they'll actually be mailed out on Monday, and I had a few others, and I didn't have enough inventory, and I also needed to get back on them so I could finish sending Stan the next amount to make up the 300 that are going to be given out free at the Bar Z Summer Bash. Alright, so we can't wait to run these burrs. This was enough burrs to validate the efforts to make the collet, and I will just use this one grinder here. Of course, this collet fits 3 other grinders that I have, so I can swap them out if I need to, and I don't think I'm going to have too hard of a time knowing which burrs are metric and not, because this is the case for them. So if I'm swapping things in and out, I'll be putting them right into this case right here. All the rest of my other ones are floating around on benches in slots like that. And see, there's one down there. All right, Paul, I want to thank you very much for your generous gift, and I'm going to package up one of my new hats and get it on its way to you. Thank you very much, and I just wanted to share with you what I did to get over the 6mm problem. This next box here, this was a heavy box, and this is from my Rick Gearhart. Sent this in to me, and the wooden box was inside that. I've already removed that. These are the holders that we'll be talking about in here. These were all wrapped up. Some nice sizes. Little collet unit right here, and these are shell holders. And then there's this little wooden box. And the note goes, Keith, a few tool holders I scored in a tool lot. Hope you can use them. Also, a surprise gift. My friend Ike dropped off the wooden box last week. Enjoy, Rick Gearhart. Okay, are you ready to see what's in here? I was floored. All right. And it says, hello, Mr. Fenner. We heard our mom and dad live here. Can we see them, please? All right. These are stainless steel. Tiny replicas of my right rollers. All right, let me go get mom and dad here. Okay, I think about a year ago, a little dust on these, but you can see the size difference. Rick made this set of stainless steel rollers for me about a year ago. These are exact size replicas of my right rollers, and these are probably half size as far as the length of the plate here. A little bit less than half size on the height. Pretty cool. I will treasure it for the rest of my life here. All right, and I talked to Rick on the phone there, and I told him I sent him a new hat and everything else, and he said he wants some Barzy Summer Bash T-nut slot scrapers, and I'm gonna throw a couple of them in for his package as well. Thank you very much, Rick. And you know, when I get done with Buffy and I redo that wall in there, I'm gonna have to redo my 40 taper holder rack, and we'll be getting that set up. But there's some good sizes in there as well, and I do like the small Morris taper as well. Sometimes I can swap that out without having to put sleeves in my bigger one. So I thank you again, Rick. All right, just a note here: navy blue and black brim, brand new logo hats. They still got the same get her done, walk the talk, the same quality Adams hat that I've always had from day one. It's got the cool lining inside. They also float if you drop them overboard. And you know, I've always been a connoisseur of hats, and I want something that's comfortable, adjusts fine, and also wash and wear really well. I have nothing but good compliments on my hats. I've changed the purchase on them. Now I have a flat rate, and I ship them anywhere in the United States for that flat rate. And anytime that anybody orders any swag or anything else, and it comes to an excess on the shipping and handling, when they combine things or they go into the cart, I refund what's not needed. All right, I don't continually overcharge you for shipping. It's what it takes to ship it out. And these are on the website now, and you can grab. You know, this is my first box, so I have 50 hats up for grab, minus what I'm giving away. So I'm going to mark the inventory, so you know, accordingly to what I have available. And as soon as these are out, I'll be ordering some more. I'm going to need some anyway, because I'm probably going to take a box of them to the Summer Bash as well, and I'll have them out there for sale as well. All right, let's head on over to the Brown & Sharp surface grinder, so I can show you a couple gifts that came in that are relating to that. Okay, I put a cardboard in the window here to cut the glare so you got a pretty good view here. This is almost where the surface grinder is going to be. I still have it up on its feet here, and I have the vacuum system here, which the vacuum may go somewhat behind it. The hose will be able to go in a curve back that way. The pathway, I'll still have a good pathway to enter through the shop there. The travel will go to the wall. Well, not all the way to the wall, you know, a little air gap, and that way there. But when I'm not using the machine, it'll be centered up here, and it's going to be comfortable. I'm going to have a plastic drop curtain, I think, that I'm going to go across the front of the shop here, because I have been creating a lot more dust in this area. This is a dust maker, so that's why I have it out here instead of having it with the rest of your machines. Most of the time, surface grinders, cylindrical grinders, Blanchard grinders, and all of that, you actually had a grinding room, and it was kept away from the rest of your machines. And that's just because the dirt and grit, and it's the same thing as the ductile iron and some abrasive materials, and keeping that off the ways of your other machines. All right, and also the ways, and that's why you look at a surface grinder or any grinder, and you look at how much protection they actually give to the ways within the machine. Okay, I don't want to get off on a tangent here. Just kind of like observing and sharing. All right, this box was shipped in, and of course the box it came in looked pretty good, but the internal components weren't packed inside well, and this box destroyed itself in the shipping here from the inside out. And here's some, you know, pictures of showing the blowout on the side seams and everything else. Just in the last couple of days, I've actually kind of glued this thing back together and put the seams back. So I'm gonna hit it with some, you know, that vibrator sander, and kind of like smooth it out a little bit, rub in some Old English furniture polish on it, and call it done. And it'll still be a good usable box. It has a drop tray in here. And what is this component? Well, this tool that was sent to me is an end mill sharpener unit, made for sharpening and dressing end mills. So I'm gonna full instructions here, and that was the original owner. He sent me a little history. The original owner here, and he sent me a photograph. Tom Patterson, a California surfer boy disabled during basic training in 1967, Navy San Diego, passed away August 2018. Lived a great life, enjoy old-time machine tools. That's the original owner, I believe, was in here. And this was sent. I was on the lookout for the perfect shipping box, never materialized. Sorry for the improvision and the delays. And no worries, it did get here safely. Enter all the things that everyone says about you here is true. I blew up my shop and started over with all new to me machines, and a lot more ambition than brains because of what you share. When I find gems that have been real value, are old and have never been used, there is a great joy in cleaning them before putting them to use. I figure you may have the same quirk, so I haven't touched these. Everything is stiff from original anti-corrosion treatment or favors. Tom, the original owner, and a really cool story. All right, I hope you find them useful. If not, please share or pay forward in any way you wish. If you ever have the opportunity to visit Phoenix, I have really nice guest house, and you're always welcome to. You're welcome to. Pictures upon request. What you see is what you get, huh? Sean, thank you, Sean. Okay, let's take a look at this part. And I set everything over here to the side. And first off, I raised that head up, and I still haven't painted my deck here, so I still have this loose. Set that on that heat blanket there. All right, and your end mill sharpener mounts right on down into the T-nut slots here, and this actually is a okay. There's the end mill. Allen wrenches. Here's your guide finger, which goes into this section right here, or off the other way. Then your mandrels. Your mandrels go in here that actually hold your end mills. This happens to be the big dude here, and you got your sets, your stops, and everything else, and of course you're riding in the center of that position right there. And these are your individual sizes. There's sleeves in here, so you remove the sleeve, you have that size. You put the sleeve in, you have that size, and the same on this side here. And the other two mandrels, get down here to the small one, and this brings you down to, looks like 3/16 of an inch end mill in there. So you got 3/16 and probably quarter. You got 3/8, then you got half, 5/8 on the other mandrel there. All right, this is going to be super cool. And when I get this mounted down, leveled, and so on, I will be playing with this attachment. And we've got a good set of instructions here that explain the whole procedure, and we'll go from there. And if we need any more help, we'll go on YouTube. All right, let me let's show you the next item that was gifted to me by a viewer. Our next viewer gift that was sent in, I'm just gonna lay these up here. Art from Kentucky. He had emailed me and asked, he said he had collected, or he picked up a surplus of tools, bought a box or so, and he had some items that were too big for him to run, and he sent those out. He knew that I could put these into K&T, and also too, I should be able to, with that sharpener there that Sean sent me, I should be able to dress these up if need be. And it looks like a couple of them might just need to be kissed off a little bit. And there's a turbo end mill in there. There's a thimble, a Starrett thimble, which is sometimes when you're making up tooling or whatever you want, and or replace on a micrometer. So that's kind of cool. All right, I'm going to set these off to the side. In that collection of tools was also a nice base with a nib, a diamond nib, industrial diamond. And you can set these up, dress your wheel by just using the table and feeding down. And of course you can lock them onto the table. I'm not bolted down here, so I want to make sure that I'm not pulling this around, but lock it down. When you're done, you pop it off, you're ready for your project. Another unique tool was another nib, but a different style holder. And this almost looks home shop. Rick Callip has got his name in there. It was also in on this one here. It might have been the owner of the box that he had. These pins were frozen up when I got it, but I freed everything up, so I have the full function of this project right now. And you could lock these all in, and the thing doesn't move, and you could use it as a regular dresser. See how it's dropped out here? And also, this nib can go in and out, which adjusts for your radius of swing. These pins create your search. Right? Where'd that go? Your pins create your stops for the amount or the direction of travel. This thing can actually go all the way around. The pins push in and out. So you have a stop there, which is 90 on that side. Stop here, which is 90 here. You have two bottom pins, which lock together, hold it solid, and then you can feed in and out to dress your wheel straight. If you just disengage one, keep the other one in, you can do half the arc from the side of your stone to the bottom of your stone. And if you put this one in and you push the other one out, you got the same thing on that side. This is a very cool attachment to have for dressing radius on your wheels. Pretty cool. I really appreciate gifting me this item. Alright, let me undo the magnet here, and I'm just going to kind of show you here. Rick Callop was put in the name there. It is a nice relieve casting. Actually, I don't know if it's casting or a solid turn. It does look like it's solid. And the pins are just simple push pins. Nice knurled knob. Almost looks like serrated cuts versus knurling. All surface ground here. This is a nice piece. Alright, I want to thank you, Art and Sean, for 2 items to play around with my surface grinder with, and the other end mills as well. Thank you very much, Art. I will be sending each of you out one of my new hats and a couple of my new stickers. And don't forget, anybody else, my new hats, my new stickers, also my work shirts are now on site. You email me with your size and your address. I have to have 6 of these to put together an order for the embroidery. It takes 3 hours to do the embroidery on the back, and they're priced accordingly. Also, my hooded zipper dicky sweatshirts with the embroidered back and front. Those are also an item where you email me your size and your address, and then I will create a PayPal invoice, send it to you, and when it's paid, then I'll put you in. It takes 2 weeks to have them made up on the outside. Sometimes a little earlier, but they always like to say 2 weeks because they don't want to be caught with their pants down. Alright, I got to cut it short here and get out and clean the chicken coop. It is Sunday. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Next week I get my new order of little baby chicks, and I'm setting up the brood and getting that going. I should have something that I might add in on the next video. I was going to take you out there today, but I think we'll cut it off short here. And until next time, get her done.